Hi everyone, welcome back to Christian Called Conservative. So let's go ahead and let's chat. I normally have a topic to present to you all for the YouTube, but this particular weekend I was inspired by my son's friends. So I had them over Friday night into Saturday, and just to explain, one is 14 and one is 12. And they are so different. I love them so much. I have seen them grow from the womb to now. And so just to let you know, these are not some guys I just met. So during breakfast, we were just chatting it up, and I presented a story to them. And I wanted them to tell me, I wanted them to stop me when they were like, what? Wait a minute, where they had questions. I did the same thing to my son the week before because I want to make sure that my son understands what's going on and what's wrong with what's been going on in the nation thus far. So I told the boys a story about the 13-year-old who was shot by the police. This is the 13-year-old who was hanging out with a gang member who had shot up cars and things like that. And so I told them the story according to the video from what I saw. And so I proceeded with 13-year-old out and about at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so they stopped me. What is a 13-year-old doing out and about 3 o'clock in the morning? And then I proceeded again, according to the video that I saw. I'm not legal. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not police. I am just a person who happened to see the video. And so we proceeded with the video, and they were able to tell me why is this guy hanging out with with a gang leader, a gang member? Why is he out at about 3 o'clock in the morning? Why does he have a gun? Things like that. So my whole purpose was to just get a feel for what is it that they've heard. So I was torn. I could either say, A, statistically, white people are more likely to get shot by police than black. B, the middle. C, nothing. So I decided to go in the middle. So I did say to them, you want to do your research before you make a statement like that, and left it there. Didn't go any further because I was itching to say more, but then I was torn. Like I said, these boys, I've known them, but then I know one of their moms' stance on things, and the other one, I'm not really sure. So I didn't want to cause a rift and all that stuff. But of course, when I spoke to my son later on, I had to let him understand that just because you see something all the time doesn't mean it's true. And so, yeah, if you look at the news, if you hear your friends, if you look at what they're saying at school, you're going to believe one particular side of a story. But then when you ask questions, when you look at another news realm, another lens, you can see, numbers wise, statistically, this isn't very accurate. So I'm bringing this video because of the boys. I'm very grateful to those boys. And so I want to ask the question, what do our kids know? What do our kids know is based on what they're exposed to and what you tell them and what I tell them, what I tell my own. And so it's important to ask them, what's going on? What do they know at school? What are the teachers telling them? What have they heard? And a lot of the shootings, a lot of the stuff that's going on, my son has heard about. Some of the stuff he has not, like the story about the 13-year-old, he had not heard about that. But it's important that I educate him and let him know, because some things, depending on the school, is going to lean one direction or another. And so the media will definitely drive the train as to what side you're going to believe in. And so here's the second part of the video. As far as the media, I'm not going to get into the Chauvin trial and all that. I'm so sick of hearing that name. I'm over it. But what I'm tickled about, actually not tickled, I won't lie, I'm kind of pissed off about, is the fact that Black Lives Matter is milking off of the trial and George Floyd and the 20-year-old, I apologize, I don't remember his name. They're milking off of those stories, but they're not mentioning other stories. There are from January to March, and I know there's more, but I counted 18 children, black and brown children, that were killed by gang-related activity, drive-by shooting. Gang-related meaning, for example, Jocelyn Adams, who was 7, who was shot and killed in her daddy's car. Her daddy, who is known to be gang affiliated, was shot and killed in the car in a McDonald's drive-thru. The story is, they were retaliating against her daddy because he decided to, let's just say, disrespect another gang member's grave site. I won't even get into what he did. So they retaliated against him and they shot up the car. And if you look at the car, it is all on one side where Jocelyn Adams was. And 7-year-old shot, but you're not going to see that story on BLM's website. And I did look at the Instagram. I look at their Instagram and I did not find her story or the 17 other children who were killed this year thus far by accident, drive-by, whatever you want to call it. But they're milking off of 20-year-old who like to show off alcohol, money, guns on their Facebook, and George Floyd, who was high as a kite, who could have killed a horse. They want to, glorify those stories, but not the babies who were killed in these crazy neighborhoods by gang-related activity. Of course, a 7-year-old, a 2-month-old, obviously is not in a gang, but because of the neighborhood they live in or because of their family member, they are no longer with us. But you're not going to see those stories on BLM's site because it doesn't fit the storyline, because white cops are evil, cops are bad, defund the police, and all that crap. But their belief or their desire to say that Black Lives Matter, that BLM is just milking off of Floyd and that 20-year-old, and they're probably going to milk off of the 16-year-old who was going to stab another teenager, but the cop had to shoot her to protect the other child. I'm sure they'll milk off that one too, just to fit the storyline that cops are bad and they should all be just defunded. What about those babies? What about those kids? What about those families who are not going to be able to pay for their funeral? But George Floyd, who's been in jail like 9 different times for drug-related incidences and burglary, he gets a gold casket. But Jocelyn Adams is not going to get a gold casket, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she's not going to. But Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah. I call BS on that. BLM, I call BS. I call BS, and I say that the ones that matter are the ones that fit your storyline. But if Black lives truly mattered, you would be mentioning Jocelyn Adams and the other babies who were killed by people who look just like them and not fixated on white cops who are shooting Black people. In Chicago, in one weekend, you could have 120 people die by homicide, Black on Black, but it won't be mentioned on BLM's website. But I'm confused. I thought Black Lives Mattered. It's BS. Do your research, ask questions. Why don't they have the babies on their websites? Why don't they have protests in front of gang houses, gang members' houses, drug dealers' houses? You know why? Because it doesn't fit the storyline. Because they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap. It's whatever brings in the cash. Whatever brings in the cash. And where you have the race hustlers who are milking off of those stories too. But I'm not going to get into them. I'm talking about BLM, the BS about Black Lives Matter. Black lives don't give 2 craps about it. Because if they did, all those people who are being shot and killed and they had nothing to do with nothing, it's not on their site. So anyway, I bring this all up, bringing it back in regards to, like I said, What do our young kids know? And what is the truth? What is the truth? This is not just me on this rampage like, oh, BLM's a lie. No, let's look at it. Ask your kids, ask the teenagers in your home, what do they know about what's going on, and to make sure they're not stuck on one particular viewpoint as far as where they're getting the information. They got to be coming to us, and as the adults, we need to be doing our own research. So anyway, as always, thank you for joining Christian Called Conservative. Put your comments on the bottom. Consider subscribing. Give this a thumbs up for me. Throw in some comments, questions. Tell me I'm full of BS. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm confused. I look forward to the conversation. Again, I thank you. Put it down on the bottom. God bless. Take care.